Okay, it's now time to break down Nabil Anane versus Superlek. This is probably going to be my favourite fight of the whole card, the one I'm looking forward to the most. It is going to be a very anticipated rematch between the 6'4" Nabil Anane versus probably the smartest fighter within one, Superlek. So, the comparison between the two, the absolute bold, obvious comparison is going to be the heights. There is a 10-inch difference within their height, or a 23-centimeter difference. Nabil Anane is standing 6'4", whereas Superlek is only standing at 5'6" or 5'7". Now, with that, the wingspan at Nabil Anane's is 200 centimeters. If you look online, it doesn't say anything right now. Right, whereas Superlek is 175. I imagine the leg length is also going to be heavily within Nabil Anane's favour. Now, Superlek has got a lot more experience than Nabil, and he's also older than Nabil. But when they first fought, Nabil Anane would have been only around 18 or 19, closer on the 18 side. Right? Now, they're both experts in Muay Thai. The first fight did end with Nabil getting TKO'd and Superlek winning within round 1. Now, from there, I think both fighters have advanced a lot. But if we're going to be talking about the striking, it's very obvious of where they were going to strike. Nabil Anane, most of his strikes are going up towards the head. This is due to because of his height. He's not going to be throwing punches down to the body, and he's not going to be kneeing the body as much because he can obviously just knee to the head very easily, and we saw this within the Su Lin fight. He's also going to be able to roundhouse very easily to the head, and we saw that in the Nico Carrillo fight. Now, when it comes to Superlek, he mixes up his strikes a lot more than Nabil does. He goes to the body, the leg, and the head. He targets all three. He doesn't favour one area a lot more than any other area. And that's the main point of what makes him such a smart striker. You don't know where he's going to be landing his shots because he switches it up constantly. If it's between rushing in with punches, if it's being flat-footed and roundhousing and leg kicking, right, he is a very smart fighter, and it is why he is 15-1 within the One Championship, if I'm correct with that stat. Right, he's an amazing fighter, probably the smartest one within one at the moment. So it is going to be a fight between two fighters who are the top of the top when it comes to the One Championship. Now, if you're looking on the right stats, though, that is per fight what is thrown in within Muay Thai. So you can see Nabil averages a lot more strikes than Superlek does during their fights. Superlek strikes, though, are more significant. This is going to be due to the fact that when he's striking, he doesn't pour out a lot more, right? But he is quite heavy-footed, so he waits and then he strikes. So a lot more of his strikes are going to be significant compared to that as Nabil's. But if you're looking at it, per fight, Nabil is throwing 26 significant strikes towards the head, but only 5 towards the leg. So at the moment, Superlek knows that his leg is not going to get compromised, right? Why Muay Thai is such a hard sport for a lot of people to not get into, but a lot of people to fight within, is because you can get hit on the legs, the body, and the head. And you can get hit by knees, legs, arms, and elbows, right? So it's why it's called the art of 8 limbs. Now, when you're looking into it, though, Superlek knows that he's not going to get kicked on the leg. And if he does, it's not going to be very often by Nabil. So you're taking away one of the places that you have to worry about, right? Now, if you're looking at it again, a lot of Nabil's shots are going towards the head. A lot more, 26-12. So over 2/3 of his shots are going to the head. So as long as Superlek recognises that and he knows he has to block towards the head, I think Nabil's going to have to change something up to trick Superlek or give him something surprising that he hasn't seen before. Or I think it's just going to end like the first fight. Now the achievements. Superlek obviously is one of the most accoladed fighters within the modern Muay Thai era. He is the one kickboxing flyweight world champion with 2 defences. He's the one bantamweight Muay Thai world champion, the 2024 Fighter of the Year, the 2022 True For You light welterweight champion, the 2018 Naikanom Tom champion, the 2016 WBC Super Featherweight champion, the 2013, 2012 and 2011 Thailand world champion at 3 different weight classes, and the 2013 and 2012 Lumpini Stadium at 2 different weight classes, and defended once within 2012. Nabil Anane is obviously the interim 1 bantamweight Muay Thai world champion after beating Nico Carrillo on short notice. He is the 2021 WKN Intercontinental Champion, the 2018 WPMF 40 kilo champion, and the fact that he made 40 kilos at 6'4" is a complete joke. I don't know if he was 6'4" back in 2018, because you are talking 7 years. So he would have been a lot shorter, but apparently it's one of his things. Apparently it was on his professional record. And then the 2022 and the 2023 WBC Muay Thai World Champion at 2 different weight classes. So we're going to go on to the pros and the cons. This is where I'm just going to talk about what they do right, what they do wrong personally. Now that is from a bystander's point of view, right? This is not from an ex-professional's point of view where I'm trying to break it down and almost act like I'm better. This is just from my point of view, what they do good, what they do bad. Nabil Anane, obviously, we have to mention the knees. This is one of the stories every time this man fights, is how high he can get his knees, right? Is insane. From a standing point of view, he can get his knee probably up to around 6 foot. If he jumps, it's going higher. Now, the fact that everyone he's fighting is only around 5'6", right? They're going to be walking into his knees all the time, and all he's doing is keeping his head away, kneeing towards the head, and he did it all the time with Sulinu, and he hit 5 in a row on Sulinu, and there was no answer. Now, also things he does amazingly, his distance control. You saw in his last fight, he is upgraded, and he has sat there and adapted a lot more since his first fight with Superlek. You saw this with Nico Carrillo. He couldn't get close. Nico being one of the bigger bantamweights at that division, right? He was, what, 5'11", and he was muscly. A lot bigger than the likes of John Haggerty, a lot bigger than the likes of Superlek or Rod Tang or anyone else in these divisions, right? He's a lot bigger than them, but they couldn't get close. Nico couldn't get close at all. Nabil kept him away, right? And he even rushed him with punches at points, yeah? And he's a lot faster than people give him credit for. He's a black belt within Taekwondo and a first dan in Karate. The 2 sports which thrive on faster kicks, right? And let's not forget that roundhouse he hit towards the head of Nico Carrillo that knocked him down. That was a bloody lovely curved and up and over roundhouse that's landed on his fucking temple, right? A lot of Muay Thai fighters, when they're roundhousing, it's coming up at an angle. Nabil's past experiences with other martial arts is giving him his roundhouses just that little bit of an edge when it comes to going over, and that's what he wants at his height. Now, the cons I have for him, obviously the leg kicks. We have to talk about it. Just because you're tall doesn't mean you can't hit leg kicks. Averaging 5 every fight is not good enough, right? 5 leg kicks in 3 rounds is not good enough when there's amateurs who are hitting 5 per round, right? It's nowhere near good enough to switch up and try and trick people. Obviously, his legs are staying busy, throwing the knees up to the head, teeps to the head, roundhouses to the head. But I find he neglects going towards the body and the legs a little bit more, a little bit too much. Right, if someone showed me them stats, I would have said he's headhunting. Right. Another con is his gifted eye. It's the perfect offense. He keeps him away. It's perfect for a long rangey sport, like any striking sport. The bad part of it is that when people close the distance, his defense isn't amazing. If he's able to control the distance, he's perfect. But if he can't, like he did it against Superlek last time, his defense looks it looks panicked, it looks rushed. It looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. His arms are a little bit too long that when he's covering up, it's not looking correct and it's too open. We're on to Superlek. Right, I've had to say he's probably one of the most smartest, most adaptable strikers. I've said within one, but it's probably within all fighting sports. Right, he adapts the most and the fastest compared to anyone else I've seen. If something isn't going his way, he will switch it. He knows what to do to beat opponents. He hasn't got one set style that he does against everyone. He changes his style due to who he's against, and I think that's what's gave him such a lucrative career within one championship so far, is that whoever he comes up against, he has research on, he knows how to beat. Now, the next thing is he is a power puncher. His stance is quite flat-footed and he likes to strike very hard. Now, I prefer Superlek within Muay Thai. I think he's a lot better within Muay Thai. I think a lot of Thais are a lot better within Muay Thai. Right? It's why when you're looking at the rest of my videos that are going to be coming out within the next 2 days, I have said that I'm giving a lot of the Japanese fighters the kickboxing fights because they're faster, they know what they're doing, they're fast on the feet. If you watch the Elias vs Superlek fight, I gave Elias the first 2 rounds easy, and then it got a little bit harder. But I just don't think a lot of Thai fighters have the movement for kickboxing. And that's, I think, one of the bigger problems, is that if Nabil's going to be moving around, he is quite flat-footed, and it's going to make it hard, right? But let's not forget, Superlek is the kicking machine. He has got fast, powerful kicks that have hurt a lot of people, right? If you just look at the people he's beat, right, it's an insane list, right, of everyone within that division. And let's not forget, he's one of the most versatile fighters within one. He doesn't just target the head, he doesn't just target the legs, he doesn't just come forward, right? He targets the head, the body, the legs, right? He targets everywhere, right? And that's helped him beat the likes of John Haggerty, Kong Ferrani, Takaru. He's beat Rodtang, he's beaten Nabil Anane, right? His list of names that he has beat is so long purely because of this changing the style. He's versatile, he changes the heights, he goes up, he goes down, right? He strikes from afar, he strikes close, right? He's probably one of the better strikers within one, or just in general. But as I said earlier, he is quite flat-footed. So if Nabil has very good movement, I can see him being able to capitalise on Superlek's slow movement. If he's coming in slow, Nabil's going to be keeping him away. If he tries to come in fast, I want to see Nabil use more knees this time, rather than just letting him come in. Now, the keynotes is a rematch. Superlek did beat him within the first fight. I think Nabil has improved the most out of both fighters, though. Specifically, his defense. He's throwing more knees backwards now. He goes back and he's throwing his knees, which I think is a very welcome sight to see, right? Especially when he's going to be fighting smaller opponents. Now, both are coming off of round 1 finishes. Superlek obviously KOing John Haggerty, and Nabil Anane clearly TKOing Nico Carrillo, so they both will be in the Brits. Now, this is a 5-round fight, and Nabil hasn't went the 5th round yet within one. Right, this is his first, if I'm correct, his first championship fight, right, other than the Nico Carrillo one, which ended within a round. So, if it gets to the later rounds, I don't know how well Nabil Anane is going to be suited for it, let's say. So, but who's going to win? A lot of fans are predicting that Superlek will win. Currently, the percentages are 71 to 29% within Superlek's favour. But let's not forget, a 29% chance of beating one of the best fighters in the world is not a bad chance to get when you're only 20 years old. I do think Nabil Anane is going to be the future of the One Championship, but I also do not see him beating Superlek this weekend. I think it's very close, and I can see him getting a lot more chances and taking them opportunities a lot better than he did last time. But I do see Superlek, in the end of the day, winning the exact same way, TKO, and I think it's going to be within the 3rd round, is what I've said. And I know a lot of fans are predicting the exact same. I'd love to hear what you guys think as well within the comments, and to see who you think's going to win the final rematch of